Hey guys, it's the Traveling Thimble, and I'm coming to you with a quilting history lesson. So, I love history, always have loved history. But I'm going to the Ozark Peacemakers Guild quilt show this weekend, and one of their sessions is called bed turning, and I was like, bed turning, what's bed turning? I'd never heard of that, and I've been around quilting my whole life and around sewing my whole life, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I got online, Googled it like everybody does. Bed turning was very popular in the late 18th, 19th centuries, and it was a social event for rural women to get together at someone's house. And so when they came to your house, you put all of your quilts on a bed because you didn't have room to display them throughout your home. You put them on your bed, and then you brought the women into your bedroom and you showed them each quilt and talked about the quilt and how it was made and maybe some history of the quilt. And so we're going to have a mini bed turning tonight now that I know what a bed turning is. So I'm going to turn my camera around, and I've got a few quilts to show you, and I'm going to try to be quick so I don't make this a real long video. Okay, so this first quilt, and I've even got my quilts on my antique bed. Love it. Anyway, first quilt I bought at a thrift shop. I probably paid max $15 for it. I know I didn't pay a whole lot for this quilt. Love this quilt. This is the Virginia Reel. If I'm saying that wrong, if it actually is a different quilt, like this quilt block is different, I apologize, and you can let me know in the comments. But what I Googled told me it was a Virginia Reel, and it is hand-pieced, hand quilted. So hopefully, yeah, I think that's going to show up. So this quilting right here mimics the block. And I just love, the simplicity of it, but at the same time, it's got a lot of detail. Every square is turned on the point, so they're more like diamonds than like squares. And then if you flip it over to the back, you see the quilt binding here. And this is a traditional binding, so it's totally different from the white that's here. I'm going to show you what I call a turned binding in a minute, but I love the way this borders both the back and the front of this quilt. So this quilt, absolutely beautiful, Virginia Reel. I'm just going to pull my quilts off and throw them in the floor because I want to make this fast. Now the second one, totally different. This is a quilt top, and it has since been quilted. I bought this on Marketplace a few years ago along with two other quilt tops, and I just loved it. It's patriotic. It's got the red, white, and blue. It's a scrappy quilt. It's a sampler quilt is what you would call this, because a sampler quilt is going to have just no two quilt blocks are the same, or very few would be the same. So that's what you call a sampler. You get a sample of everything. And so my sister helped me actually get this ready to be quilted because it had a few issues with it and stuff, but really, really pretty quilt. And then I want to show you this quilting on just doing the stars with the swirls, and then putting the white thread on this blue fabric just made it turned out so pretty. I'm just so happy with this. Now we did get this little guy upside down, whoopsies, but that's okay. He may have already been on there upside down. This is probably my favorite block just because it looks kind of vintage, and it's sort of a log cabin. But, it's all good. I love this quilt, and I put it out for the 4th, and it's awesome. It also has the turn binding, but I'll talk about that because I've got other quilts with the turn binding. This quilt, now, I can't even explain how pretty this quilt is, and let me tell you, I would never have said that this quilt is as pretty as it is. It is actually made out of polyester or double knit, which seems to be the fabric of my childhood. That's what I always say. Double knit will last forever. So in the late 70s, early 80s, during my time, I remember helping my mom and my Aunt Lou Jean make not quilts like this because they didn't do this kind of work. My husband's grandmother did this. It's just gorgeous. And she did this by hand. All of these, every one of these sewn by hand, but they used a lot of double knit or polyester to do quilts. That was the thing. That's what you did. It was readily available. It was cheaper. When I put this on the bed, I was like, wow, this thing is really, really pretty. And I did not appreciate it until I put it on the bed. Now, his grandmother did not finish this one out, so you'll see the raw edges here. So this one she didn't finish out. I have other quilts by her that I'll show you. But I've got one cotton, and then I've got another one or two polyester ones. But I'm like, wow, I was just really surprised, if you can't tell, that this quilt is as pretty as it is, because I am not a fan of the polyester. Now this next quilt, again with the green, and green's not even my favorite color, but I don't know, I'm loving this green quilt. My grandma, Virtue, my dad's mom, made this quilt. She loved bow tie, and that's what we call this. If it's called something else or it's known by more than one name, feel free to let me know. But my grandma did a lot of bow tie, and she just got really good at it. She enjoyed it. She could probably whip them together pretty quickly. And I just love, again, the simplicity of the green and the white on this quilt. So pretty. Now this is technically not my quilt. Well, it's not technically. This is not my quilt. This is my mom's quilt, but I sort of borrowed it and never took it back. And so sorry, Mom. And then I was talking to my sister, and she didn't have any quilts made by our grandmother. So I told my sister she could have it, even though it technically wasn't mine to give. And sorry, Mom. So anyway, the back of this quilt is just done in like a really light green. We use this quilt a lot. I remember sleeping under this quilt. It's super comfy. It's really soft. It's got that quilt crinkle that a lot of people talk about, and it's machine quilted. And then the turned binding that I didn't show you on the patriotic quilt, this is a turned binding. So you take the back of your quilt and you don't use a separate piece of material. You just fold it over, fold it under, and then you stitch it. And my grandma used a zigzag stitch. My mom hand stitches hers, and then typically she'll go back over them with her machine, but my mom will hand stitch hers down. But this, I love this quilt. It's so pretty. But I wanted to show it off. And then the very last quilt I'm doing tonight is this one, and I'll try to stand back. I don't have enough room to really show these quilts off like they would show in person, but that's okay. So this quilt was made by my mom for me. It was supposed to be my high school graduation quilt. And I'm laughing because I just got this quilt a few years ago. So when I was a junior in high school, my mom had a really bad wreck. It broke her back, and she was pretty much immobile for a while. And so she wanted to make me a quilt for my graduation because that's what she did. And she's really good at handwork. So embroidery, my mom and her mom were both just really good at handwork. And so she made all of these roses on here by hand. And she made even more. We've got more of these. But every time she went to set it together, something happened, other things got in the way, and she couldn't always find all the roses for my quilt. So after so long, I found a few of them, and then I just got on a mission. I'm like, I'm going through all your stuff till I find the roses. We got them found. Mom got them all put together and set this quilt together, and it turned out really, really, really pretty. I just love it. And then it's got this really bright floral background, which I feel like kind of, is a play on, it kind of catches that color. Not that you see it, if you didn't like the bright, you would never even see it because it's on the back. But this is an example, again, of turned binding, where the back, you turn it over, and it's the same in the front. So not everybody does turn binding. I know doing a traditional binding gives you some more options, some more color options and different things you can do, but that's how my mom likes to finish her quilts, and that's how she was taught to do it. And for me, and I think for most people anymore in the quilting world, do what makes you happy and do what works for you. But you guys have attended maybe your first bed turning and got a little bit of a history lesson about quilts and culture. And I do think that bed turning was a way for women to show off the awesome work that they did, because quilting was a way that they got to show their talent. And it just got them, it was just a little bit of recognition for being good at something. And it was very important to them to bring people into their home and show their quilts off. So I thought I would do a mini quilt turning with you guys tonight. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you later. Bye.